Welcome to Honest Money. We've got a really special episode today, something that's very close to my heart, which is, to me, the golden recipe for anybody trying to build to a point of financial freedom is starting at the most critical point, which is how do you get to spend a little bit less than you earn every month of every year until you've reached your point of financial freedom. And there are lots of ways and lots of talking heads that will tell you clever things about this. But to me, the point is it's a consistent behavior that we need to develop. And nowadays, I think there's some great tools and great weapons that we can use in our own arsenal to get us to a point of financial freedom. So I'm really chuffed to have the managing director of 22/7 on with us today, Jikku Joseph. Jikku, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, Warren.
So I think to start, as I always like to say, this isn't advertorial, so I'm going to give you a hard time when I need to and ask you the tough questions. But first, I think for people who don't know, can you tell us a little bit about 22/7?
Sure. 22/7 is a free money management app. It helps you link all your accounts, bring all your accounts, be it investment accounts, bank accounts, rewards programs, loan accounts, all into one app. So you have one view of all your finances and you can see where your money is going. So you can see all the transactions within those accounts, how much is coming in, how much is going out, and you can use that information to manage your money more smartly going forward.
And when you say use the information, you're actually helping people kind of give them pointers or give them nudges to do things as well. It's not just a tracking tool, I guess. It's actually it starts to help me manage my own behavior.
Yeah, exactly. So the biggest problem we have is actually taking all the data that we have and seeing it in a way that is easy to consume, right? So the first thing that we do is when we bring all your transactions together, we visualize them in a way that you've never been able to see them before. So we have a very smart categorization engine. It takes all your transactions and it puts them into neat categories, and we show those to you in very easy to consume graphs. So the first part is the visual part, where it's easy for you to see at a glance where your money is going. But then over and above that, we provide very personalized insights. So things that are all about how you are doing with your money and ideas on how you could possibly use your money better, how you compare to other people who are in a similar income bracket to you. And they're all what we call them nudges. And they're all little hints and tips that encourage people to be smarter with what they're doing financially.
To me, that's the critical point. I feel I always try and compare, saving to kind of running a long marathon. First you've got to train for the marathon, and if you've never run anything in your life before, the best way to do it is to start with a running group or a running buddy. And it's not always easy to get a money buddy or a money group because you're talking about things which are so personal. And so for me, this becomes a very nice way to say, well, here is a kind of a partner that helps you just move you in a direction and holds you to account. And of course, it's up to you eventually as the person to get going. But if you've got these nudges coming through, that's kind of your own money buddy, I think, just saying to you, hey, you can do this, you can try that. And for people like me that hates being told what to do, a suggestion's much better than an instruction. So I love the idea of a nudge. So that's powerful. And Jikku, I know it's not a new business, but I guess this isn't something you kind of started in your garage last week.
No. So 22/7's been around in South Africa for quite a while. We started the service in 2012, so it's 8 years old now. It's over 400,000 South Africans strong, so we're quite proud of that. Yeah.
Okay, and then we're going to come to some sensitive questions now. But who the money guys behind this? Is this something where once I've joined, all my data gets sold to Facebook and they know everything about me?
No. So look, in all seriousness, the data question is quite a sensitive one and quite an important one. We really need to look after customers' data. It's the lifeblood of the 22/7 company, and all the South Africans who are using it and all the South Africans who we hope will become potential users of the app can take comfort in the fact that we are backed by one of the oldest and most trusted financial services companies in the country. Old Mutual acquired 22/7 wholly in 2013. So 22/7 started off as a independent financial technology company in 2012. And in 2013, Old Mutual saw the benefit of actually bringing a financial technology company into its stable. Because if you think about a company like Old Mutual, they help customers with their long-term financial futures. But how can we think about our long-term financial futures without solving our today? And really, that's where 22/7 adds value to the Old Mutual stable in the sense that it's complementary. We help people manage their money today so that they can lift their heads and think about managing their money tomorrow. So everyone can take comfort in the fact that the big money guys behind 22/7 are actually the guys that we know and we rely on and we trust today in our day-to-day lives. Old Mutual.
So I'm hoping that if I sign up, I'm not going to get a call 2 days later from an Old Mutual agent selling me a funeral policy.
Yes. Okay. So that's another important distinction, right? Even though 22/7 is backed by Old Mutual, we are a separate entity from Old Mutual, and none of the data that we collect from our customers is shared with Old Mutual without the explicit consent of that customer itself. We don't have like a hidden term in the T's and C's that says, we're going to share your data with Old Mutual. Actually, within the app, there will be explicit requests at the point you are doing something with Old Mutual or any other third party that we happen to have a partnership within the app. We have a partnership with Old Mutual iWise for car insurance, but that's an opt-in for the customer. We have investments. We had investments unit trusts on the app where a customer could take out a passive investment fund, and that is again opt-in by the customer. But other than that, we don't sell or share any data of any of our customers with Old Mutual or any other third party without their explicit consent. Like I said, it's the lifeblood of 22/7. We really have to treat the information that we get with the due care it requires. Otherwise, we wouldn't exist today.
Fantastic. I think that that's really a critical point in this. Where we are in the world at the moment. We've learned that we need to protect our data so much more as individuals. So it's nice to hear that. And so I guess the next question is, how much is this going to cost me? If I sign up, how much are you ripping me, Jikku?
So the service is free. It's completely free. I know we often worry about if something is free, you are the product. So our business model as it stands today is largely around get as many customers on the platform as we can get them to the point of financial strength, and then offer them products or services that make sense for them at their stage in their life. So at the point you now have money left to invest, if you take out an investment through Old Mutual with us, we will earn a fee for that. And so there's a nice alignment between interests, because if we are focused on getting you to the point where you can save or you can take out insurance, we are helping you get to that outcome. And if you do, it's not compulsory. If you do, we earn a fee off the back of that. And that's the first way we do it. The second way we're thinking about generating value from 22/7 is in the form of what we'd call aggregated insights. So that's quite important to distinguish between aggregated insights and sort of individual selling of data. We don't sell anybody's personal information, but what we will do is we'll generate aggregated insights. An example would be, South Africans spent more on clothing and shoes in the first 2 months of 2020 than they did in the first 2 months of 2019. That is an aggregated insight. It can't be linked to an individual. Nobody will call you because they know that you're a part of that cohort. It's all de-identified, all aggregated. We see the value in those specific insights. So those are the two ways that we plan on generating value. But to the end customer, the service is completely free.
Okay, I think we're ticking lots of boxes here. So for me, I guess the next question is, obviously I'm familiar. I've done my homework over time looking at 22/7. And one of the questions that comes up quite a bit from people is, when I've sent them to 22/7, is they say, hang on, these guys are asking for my bank passwords and my investment company passwords and logins, etc. So, I think that we've been maybe correctly, maybe incorrectly brainwashed by the institutions, the financial institutions, to say never give out that stuff. And then here is 22/7 asking for it. And so maybe we need to just talk about that to say, what's going on and what's the security around me giving you my bank passwords and the like. What can you do with it? What can't you do? Just to get this out the way, because I think it is For a lot of us psychologically, we've got to know what we're doing when we hand these over and make sure we're doing it with the right people. And obviously, we need to understand the value. I think there's enormous value, but I can understand that people are wary, and that's correct. They should be aware, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't do it. They just need to understand what's going on.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's one of the common challenges that we face is that many South Africans are wary, and they should be, like you say, absolutely. You should be very, very cautious with what you do with your credentials. They're the most sensitive, credentials, some of the most sensitive data that you'll ever have in your life. So you need to be really, really picky about who you share that information with. And we don't take that lightly, right? It's the lifeblood of our business. If we were unable to keep the credentials that we collect from our customers safe, if we were unable to keep the data that we collect and transmit safe, we wouldn't exist today. We wouldn't have 400,000 South Africans registered with over 1.1 million accounts linked. So it really is a trustworthy service. Because we take the steps to do that. Some of the steps that we follow today is, when you give us your credentials, you're only giving us the authority to go and collect data on your behalf. So we go, and when I say we, there's no human intervention. It's all automated by technology. So these are all automated systems. Collect your credentials, and you use your credentials and collect your data in a encrypted form. We take just the data and we visually enrich the data and we display that to you in 24/7. Nobody can transact on your accounts, not even you, within 24/7 using the credentials that we've collected, because it's a read-only service. So we only use the credentials to collect the data, bring them into the app and display them to you visually. We use banking levels of encryption. So in terms of the data methods that we use for collection, but also at all points of transmission and storage, we're using banking levels of encryption. So 256-bit SSL encryption for those of you who are looking for the exact numbers. Yeah, for the techies on the podcast, which is some of the highest, if not the highest standard of encryption that one can find. The other thing we do is we have cyber insurance protection. So the same insurance protection that big banks and big financial institutions have in the event that something happens, we also have that protection. And we never, we obviously take all the methods to ensure that that is very, very unlikely to happen. But if that does happen, which has happened at banks as well, your money, your data, you are protected. So you can also get that rest assurance. We also do other things, like we perform information security audits, and we get our stuff ethically tested by these professional information security companies. And I mean, we've talked about this already, right? We're backed by one of the biggest financial organizations in the company, Old Mutual. They wouldn't put their name behind something that is not taking the due care with respect to security.
And if I remember correctly, I mean, you're using the kind of core security is the same security that some of the biggest banks in many countries around the world is using. I mean, it's not like this is something which you just developed for yourselves. You're actually taking kind of the world standard and then saying let's add to that.
Yeah. So our data aggregation partner is a company called Yodlee. They are one of the biggest data collection providers in the world. They call them data aggregators. They're actually regulated in the United States as if they were a bank. They're used by, if I remember correctly, 8 of the 10 big banks in the US. They're used by 2 major banks in South Africa. So they've certainly been around the block. They know what they're doing. They use a technique called screen scraping, right? So I know there's been some publicity lately in the press in terms of screen scraping. The South African Reserve Bank and the Financial Services Conduct Authority actually described screen scraping in 2 papers that they released in the last few months around open finance and open banking. Open finance and open banking is all about having the power to choose who you share your data with. And in both papers from the South African Reserve Bank and the Financial Services Conduct Authority, they talk about screen scraping and the fact that if screen scraping is done responsibly, it can be a very good way to enable the outcomes that open banking itself is seeking to achieve. And that's the method we use today through Yodlee, who is a very trusted partner around the world, like you said, Warren, and they use that method to collect the data. And obviously, we're following that method as a result.
So I think that's the thing that bothers me a little bit about the institutions in South Africa, the financial institutions. They use data security as an excuse, often not to make it easy for me, the clients. So it's me talking now, Jikku. So I'm not going to put you on the spot with this one, but they make it difficult for me as the client to get my data in real time, let's say, or at least very accurately, very consistently, in ways that I want to get it. And so they make it hard because they'll say to companies like yours, no, we're not sharing stuff with you because of data security. We're not going to be the problem or the one that falls down here. And so no. And I remember right in the beginning, I think it was 22/7. Actually, one of the banks, when 22/7 arrived, tried to report you guys to the Reserve Bank, saying, what are these guys doing? And I remember that I actually read that letter from the Reserve Bank saying that this is something that needs to be done. This is something that's for the good of consumers. So for me, that's my real frustration with the industries. We need to take it seriously. We need to take the security of people's information very seriously. But at the same time, we need to empower people both to get control of their money. And I think that's exactly what you're trying to do. That's what I like. That's why we're spending time on this, because just for everybody listening, we're not getting paid to do this. Is not advertorial. This is me saying my public service announcement for 2021 is, if you're not saving and you're struggling, this is what you got to do to get going. And I think it's a reliable thing. And I think, for me, nowadays we all work on tools. We all work on our phones, on our desktops, and we need easy ways to kind of get these nudges and to get moving. And this is such a logical, simple way of doing things, where I'm not taking a spreadsheet every day that I'm downloading from my bank and then trying to put it into something and trying to track. It gets done. And I think that's the thing, is often the hassle factor stops us from budgeting correctly, stops us from figuring out how to save. And that's the value of this. It's so simple in concept. I know behind this is a lot of stuff going on, but the easy part for me as a user is, this is one view. I'm doing okay. I'm not doing okay. How can I do better? Okay, cool. These are the steps I can follow. And maybe next month I see a bit of improvement. If I don't see an improvement, that's my running buddy telling me to keep going and to keep nudging me on the path I should follow. And I think that's the trick with this. That's the whole key. And it surprises me, when something is free and is reliable and secure, that you've got 400,000 account holders. I think it's amazing that you've got 400,000 account holders, but I'm surprised that you don't have 4, 10, 12 million. The point is, we're looking for these things. Is we get these questions all the time on our WhatsApp line from people. How do I save better? What's the tricks that we should be following? Here is one, and it's free. If you're not doing it, don't blame anybody else. It's just you, and you're not taking action. So that's my soapbox preach for the show. But from your perspective, Jikku, I think anything that you want us to kind of know as the end listener, the end consumer of this, how do we go forward? What should we be doing?
Yeah, look, in the end of the day, one of the most important things that we try and encourage South Africans, people to think about is, what is the most valuable thing you will ever own in your lifetime? And it's intangible, right? It's your time. And if we think about your time, the one way to win back your time is have the power to decide what you do with your time by having enough money available to be able to make that choice. And the way you get there, it seems like such a far, a long way away. This concept of financial freedom. I love the FIRE movement, the financial independence, retire early movement, for the one simple reason that it's simplifying the how much is enough question. How much do I need to have in order to live, or win back control of my time, live life on my terms. And, I know different people quote different numbers. Some people say 240 times monthly expenses. Some people say 300. It's really about just having that number. So if it's 300 times monthly expenses, and that's the number I'm looking to achieve, that's a target. But what I love about that target is you have control. It talks to you about the two things you have control over. It's how much you're putting away, how much you're saving, and also how much you're living on. Like, what is your daily or your monthly cost of living. And if you can control those two levers, you can get to that outcome of 300 times your monthly expenses much faster. And that's really what 22/7 is all about. Like, you can use 22/7 to make sure you're tracking your monthly cost of living, because we show you your spending behavior. It's very objective. You can see where your money is going. You can put more money towards the things that matter and less towards the things that don't matter. You can manage your cost of living into to a number that's actually really within your appetite. I mean, we're not expecting people to live on 2-minute noodles, but you get to that objective number, which is, this is how much I'm willing to live on at an absolute bare minimum that makes me happy and comfortable. We then also help you track how much you owe, so how much debt you still have to pay, how much you have in terms of investments, so that you can actually see how close you are in terms of how much you have from an assets perspective to that 300 times your monthly expenses number. And everything we do from the beginning, like spend within your income, spend less than you make, help you pay down your expensive debt by helping you track your debt, making sure you're putting your money towards things like emergency savings by encouraging you to save a little bit more, providing you with those hints in terms of where your money is going, and maybe you should reconsider, where you put your money. And then, also showing you, giving you some options to invest, but also showing you the value of your investments, is all towards helping South Africans work towards this goal of financial freedom. And you also talked about the tool, right? So the tool is there, right? The app 22/7 is there, but we also need to take that responsibility, take that ownership ourselves. So next month, as 22/7, we're launching a campaign which we call Save Your Future, and it's really about inspiring South Africans during this very difficult time. Last year has been, we've all been in lockdown. Some people we've seen the data, we've seen some of our 22/7 users have had reductions in income. Some people have lost incomes. But really, we can't rely on others to help us solve the problem. We need to take ownership. We need to take responsibility of our futures today. And we need to take these steps to actually, save our future, win back our time, spend less than we make, and save that little bit of extra money. Save so that we can save that little bit of extra money towards emergencies, so we protect ourselves against those unforeseen circumstances. I mean, you always talk about the 3 to 6 months that people should have, saved up to protect themselves against emergencies. And then after that, save for winning back your time, save for your financial freedom. That's I think really important for the listeners to know.
It's a power goal, Jikku. I mean, I think, and you're right. The people that get to financial freedom, and I mean, I've spent more than 20 years working with those people that have got to financial freedom. They come from different backgrounds. They have different educational experiences. Their families have different histories with money. So they are vastly different. But the one thing they all have in common is they're not good at making excuses. They are good at finding reasons to take actions. They're good at taking control of their lives, and taking control of their lives includes taking control of their money. And to me, that's the one thing, this is not rocket science. I promise you, if it was rocket science, I wouldn't be here. But it's kind of simple. And I think the trick is find ways to take control. And this is a brilliant way of doing it. So I just want to say, big shout out to you and your team. What you guys are doing is amazing. And I haven't said that before on any show anywhere. So I believe it. And I just think, for the people that are listening, try it out. If you're not in control of your money, don't blame anybody else. Blame yourself first. And this is a great way to actually implement control and stop finding excuses. What we need to do now is find reasons to save, find reasons to take control. As you say, I mean, for you, save for your future. I think, and that's the point, save yourself. And that's where we are now. So thanks, Jikku. I really appreciate it. Congrats to the team, and let's hope that we can do one of these again. And we're talking about 4 million users and then 16 million. And so we go. I mean, I think it'll be good for sure, it'll be good for 22/7, but it'll be great for the country. And I think that's the goal for all of us here.
Thanks so much for having me, Warren. It was awesome to be here.